Mrs. Lovett screamed. Pain rippled through her, and she prayed once again to die or pass out. "Shut up," spat Sweeney, and he jammed the blade forcefully into her stomach, twisting it. Mrs. Lovett gasped and fell, crumpling on the floor. Sweeney leant over her and let a gob, don't you mean glob, of saliva fall on the writing woman's face. Don't you mean like wilting or withering? She choked and moaned before finally lying still. Sweeney nudged her with his foot, and she still lied still. He smiled. Mrs. Lovett had learned her lesson. She wasn't Lucy. This fanfic is a piece of shit. No. It's not a piece of shit. It's a monstrosity. Way too violent, even for Sweeney Todd. Out of character. Timeline made no sense. Toby, what happened to Toby? If Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd were making that much noise while he was torturing her, I'm sure Toby would have woken up, and I'm sure he would have tried to put a stop to it. I highly doubt he was sitting in bed looking terrified or sleeping like a log. I mean, come on. Well, I mean, the beginning of the story is pretty much about Sweeney marching down the stairs to tell Mrs. Lovett to shut up so that Toby wouldn't wake up. Let's read the author's note. So there you are, Sweeney fans. A little mean to Mrs. Lovett, I know. A little? You call what you just wrote a little mean, Mrs. Lovett? A little? I would not call this a little cruel. You want proof? Well, let's just count off the things that Sweeney did to Mrs. Lovett, shall we? First, he picks her up by the hair and drags her towards a mirror and starts degrading her in front of the mirror. He then starts slamming her head up against the mirror over and over and over again. When he's done with that, he throws her to the ground, causing her to sprain her wrists, and he starts kicking her over and over and over again in the stomach. And then he has this brief moment of kindness where he gently turns her over and he gently swipes the hair away from her face, and he says, "Oh, do you still love me?" And then when she stupidly says, yeah, he angrily slaps her across the face and like picks her up. He then slams her up against the wall, shoves his hand up her dress and into her panties and starts like groping her, and then after that he like kisses her and shoves his tongue down her throat, and then he like grabs and pinches her nipples, and then when he's done doing that, he takes his fingers and he starts shoving them up her crotch, and let's do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would not fit! And then when he's done doing that, oh yes, he takes his fingers out of her crotch, he forces her to lick them clean, causing her to puke on him, and then he's like, "Ooh, you'll regret that." And then he starts like drawing like a tearful look on her face, and then he randomly starts sawing off her boob. Where the hell did that come from? And then after he does that, he takes the razor, stabs her, twists it, causing her to fall to the ground in absolute pain. He leans over her, spits on her, causing her to choke on his saliva, and then she dies, and then he's all smiling because she learned that she wasn't Lucy. So, I would not call that a little cruel baby. Let's continue to read the author's note. A little vicious this time around, but you have no idea how stressed out I am because of various parents and siblings. Well, baby, maybe you should see a psychiatrist. The next one will probably be happier. Please read and review. Much love to all of you. Beatty. P.S. If you read and review, Helena Bonham Carter will be naked in your room the next time you go up there. What? PB is not really though. Well, no shit. Okay, let me go into a lot greater detail about why this story is a piece of shit. The characters. Way out of character. Let's start with Sweeney. Yeah, Sweeney Todd the movie was supposed to be violent, but this was like over the top violent and cruel. And Sweeney Todd in the movie was not really that cruel. Most of the people he did kill quickly, except for the judge and Mrs. Lovett. Well, I'd say the judge's death was very, very gruesome. Being burned alive probably hurt a lot, but it was probably quicker. And I mean, the judge, he was still alive even after he went flying down the chute. He was alive longer than Mrs. Lovett was. And the pain was probably so intense for her that she eventually probably felt nothing after a while. Because that can't happen, you know. And he wasn't really happy when he killed anyone. Maybe the judge, but no one else, even Mrs. Lovett. In the movie, he also seemed to... He didn't love Mrs. Lovett in the movie, but he did seem to care about her, and in this story, he doesn't care about her at all. Even before he supposedly snaps because the day is taking its toll on him, which that was never explained later on, he, you know, seemed to hate her even then. Like that one comment, oh, she was being annoying and it was dangerous for her. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And I mean, the story would have made more sense, you know, if he did get angry and maybe, like, beat her up. And then, you know, after he beats her up, he feels horrible about it. The story would have made more sense if it happened like that, because that's how you thought it was going to happen at first. That he went too far and then he realizes what he did and feels horrible. But no, he had a chance to cool down and he didn't. He just, after a while, he just seemed to enjoy torturing her for the fun of it. Yeah. And now to get to Mrs. Lovett, why she was out of character. Well, she was too, poor me, bleh. And they also made her very stupid in the story. Even if she was drunk, I don't think she would have said all those things about, you know, Lucy. And what was very inconsistent, it wasn't the fact that she was making fun of Lucy that caused Sweeney to snap. It was the fact that she admitted that she loved him that caused him to snap. I mean, what the hell? Toby, well, I can't really say anything about Toby because he's only mentioned, and then after, you know, he's mentioned, he's never mentioned again, and he doesn't, apparently he doesn't exist anymore when Mrs. Lovett's getting tortured. I mean, the story altogether was just a sack of shit. It was horrible. The only good thing about this story is that it was well written. This person was very good with the details. I'll give them credit for that, but other than that, the story itself was shit. I don't know what the hell this person was thinking when they wrote this story. You know what? This story deserves to have its throat slit by Sweeney Todd himself. I'm the FanFic Critic. I read it, you listen. I need to get a drink. Oops. Toodles.